Just one glance at the litter left behind by Glastonbury Festival patrons at the weekend tells you all you need to know about the state of Britain today. Hypocrisy is alive and rampant. They have been leaving their rubbish behind for 30 years, and it is reported it will take until August to make the fields fit for dairy cows to graze in. And to think that they welcomed Greta Thunberg, that tiresome young Swedish environmental campaigner, in their midst. It is beyond parody. It is said that Glastonbury is a gathering of middle-class trendies. They can't be working class, or they would be scraping together a living in the cost of living crisis. What crisis? We can only assume the audience asks when they leave behind enough serviceable camping equipment to set up a Scouts jamboree. Where is their pride in Britain? The short answer is that among our metropolitan so-called elite it flew out of the window years ago. The wokerati in our great institutions and academia can't stop running Britain down in the name of inclusivity, inclusive, that is, apart from anyone who happens to be white, however distinguished. Thomas Hardy and Wilfred Owen are now beyond the pale. And they still expect the taxpayer to keep them in the manner to which they have become accustomed. Glastonbury's untidy pollution of the countryside is, however, par for the course for hypocrisy in the Green movement. They think nothing of telling us that the end of the world is nigh because of man-made carbon dioxide emissions, and then creating tons more of it by flying the world in their thousands to attend the United Nations annual environmental summits. But what irks me most about the hypocrisy of all those who preach pristine purity of the planet while mucking it up is their hold on politicians this side of the Iron Curtain. Starting with Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth, they have made a profession out of seducing governments into the measures of unknown expense that have now jeopardized Western economies. They are in part responsible for the cost of living crisis because for 30 years we have strayed from the old Department of Energy concept of energy policy, security of supply at the lowest possible cost. They won't, of course, admit it. They never do. It is all government's fault. Governments are certainly culpable, but at least they are now waking up to the risks of food and fuel shortages, thanks partly to the COVID pandemic and Putin's war with that breadbasket called Ukraine. Between them, environmentalists and politicians ought to be made to answer for any sad cases of hypothermia among the old and feeble this coming winter. Turning to local government, and not least what passes for it in London, we have discovered just how incompetently hypocritical they are in narrowing roads to open up cycle lanes. These symbols of their greenery may make councillors and officials feel virtuous. In fact, they ought to be shot for intensifying pollution by creating official traffic jams that now plague urban centres, and, of course, contribute to the cost of living crisis through wasted time and money. You may think I am disaffected with the world. But wait until I get on to the Tory conspiracy to rid us of the Prime Minister. It has made hypocrisy to a fine art. I can never be accused of failing to identify Boris Johnson's many faults, ranging from a chronically untidy approach to life, carelessness, a gambler, and freedom with other people's money. But the campaign against him stinks to high heaven. This is because every reason under the sun is advanced for scalping him, when at its root is a refusal to accept Brexit, even though a referendum favoured it with a substantial majority. In short, their campaign for Boris's head is based on a denial of democratic will. They hold themselves up as shocked, among many other things, by Partygate and his lack of direction. But what is really shocking is that 148 Tory MPs who voted a lack of confidence in him seem to be prepared to risk a return to Brussels servitude and inevitably its single currency. Behind all the slavering for Boris's head also lies a threat to the UK, for if they are prepared to overturn the Brexit referendum, how can they stop the Scots from seeking independence from the English? From all this it's clear that not only is hypocrisy seriously rife, but so is political incompetence. Like the rubbish-creating Glastonburyans, they certainly can't claim to think things through. Or are they just addled,